Hi, my name is Frank. It's Friday, time to kick back and talk music. Today, I want to talk about that IKEA turntable. How crazy is that? Plus, opening the mail, but let's kick things off by talking Kate Bush and the Netflix effect. I'm not sure how many of you watch the show Stranger Things on Netflix, but regardless, you're going to find this interesting because this pertains to all the stuff we always talk about on this channel. Anyway, the Kate Bush song Running Up That Hill is featured in an episode on this latest season of Stranger Things. The track is from her 1985 album Hounds of Love. And if you watch the show Stranger Things, Running Up That Hill is the favorite song of one of the characters, Max. She listens to the tape on her Walkman, and it plays a significant role in the season in that this song basically saves her life. Now, I won't get into all the details. So because of the song's inclusion in this season of Stranger Things, that little bit has driven up the cost of the cassette to ridiculous levels. I'm not talking about the vinyl. I'm not talking about the CD. I'm sure those have gone up as well. We'll talk about that. But in particular, the cassette. Now, this is pretty crazy. Check this out. Here are some recently completed and sold listings on eBay. This is not what people are asking for the tape. This is what people have paid for it. All right, this one here sold for $655.84 Canadian. Let that sink in. That is equal to $515 US. It's equal to 423 pounds. And it is equal to 739 Australian dollars for one Kate Bush cassette from 1985. Let's look at some of these other sold listings. Here's another one that went for $320. I see the most recent one sold for $144. So, I mean, maybe the prices are going down. I don't know. Vinyl is a better deal, if you can call it that. Those seem to be selling for around $100 Canadian, which is equal to about $78 or so US. I mean, if you're looking for a deal, I guess you can check out Discogs. It seems to be a bit cheaper there if you can find one. If you look at the sales history, prices on this Kate Bush cassette seem to spike in May and June when season 4 of Stranger Things dropped. So I asked my wife Sherry if she owned this tape, and she said she used to own it, but she hasn't seen it in decades, and I have no idea where it was. If I got that, man, that would have helped pay for the gas for our summer road trip coming up, because gas prices are so ridiculous. I mean, I guess it begs the question, right? Who's buying all this? Who would pay $600, $500, or $600, or even $300 for a Kate Bush tape? This is a tape that would have been $20 or less up until Stranger Things, up until this season of Stranger Things, right? And you can only think the price is eventually going to go down. The person that spent $600 on this is going to be like, why the hell did I buy that? Anyway, I found that really interesting. Again, just speaks to the power that that television and these streaming services do have on our overall pop culture and on the hobbies that you and I all love, right? Collecting music. Crazy stuff.
Love vinyl? Tell the world with a Channel 33 RPM t-shirt. Check out the Channel 33 RPM store today.
All right, let's talk about this IKEA record player. I guess I can call it a turntable. Have you seen this? So IKEA is apparently launching a record player this fall, and no, you don't have to assemble it yourself, as the old joke goes, right? Everything from IKEA you have to assemble yourself, but not this record player. It was developed in conjunction with EDM supergroup Swedish House Mafia, and this is IKEA's first. This is the first record player IKEA has offered since 1973. That's the year I was born. They tried to launch a record player a few years ago, but for whatever reason that didn't work out. It didn't take off. So according to IKEA's website, this is designed to be a simple plug-and-play deck. It's going to be part of a new collection, which also includes an armchair and a desk. Check this out. This is a quote from one of the designers. Today you see a lot of slim record players that are almost trying to hide, but we wanted something very bold, and we wanted the record player to be a very physical manifestation of the music. Sounds interesting. We don't have a lot of details on this particular record player, including price or technical specs, right? It's always in those fine details. I mean, how is this thing going to perform? What are you actually buying? What is the wow and flutter? All that sort of stuff is still unknown. What we do know is that it is going to have a built-in preamp that will be powered by a single USB cable. The whole turntable will be actually powered by a single USB cable. It looks like it's coming with an Audio-Technica cartridge. And it sounds like, IKEA has given some consideration to minimizing vibration, which is a good thing. This is from the IKEA website, and it notes that the designers incorporated sound solid overall construction bound to absorb any vibrations from where the record player sits. So I don't expect this to be a hi-fi component by any stretch of the imagination, but just from some of this basic stuff I'm seeing, it looks like they have given some considerable thought to design, form, and function. And they're talking about things like sound dampening, vibration control, which is all good stuff. So I imagine this will be at least a couple steps up from those Crossley turntables. But I guess time will tell in terms of how good this thing actually is. But again, it just speaks to how popular vinyl is getting and has gotten again, right? Where it's completely in the mainstream to the point that IKEA is actually going to be selling these. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I think ultimately it's only a good thing, right? Because it's going to help more people get into vinyl and enjoy this hobby or this pastime or this lifestyle or this passion that you and I enjoy.
Channel 33 RPM.
So this week on the social channels, I made this post that you see here, and I wrote, "This is the world we live in. Vinyl 5 times the cost of CD. Which one would you go for?" And as you see here, this is a screenshot from Amazon. It's got the latest Police reissue of the greatest hits. And it shows that the record is selling on Amazon again for $55 Canadian, which is $42 US, compared to the old CD version of it, which is selling for $9 Canadian, which is $7 US. Now, I actually wasn't looking to buy either of these. I have that compact disc. I have all the Police stuff on vinyl already, so I don't need this particular one. It looks cool, but I just posted this to make a point. I was scrolling through Amazon and I saw this and kind of the contrast between the price of records again and the price of CDs, right? So I kind of asked people, what would you do? And people were really split on this. A number of people said they would just go for the record anyway because they know it's going to sound good. A lot of people said the compact disc. If I didn't have this and I was in the market, I probably would go for the CD just because that price of the record is kind of crazy. But people who did buy this record have reported it's sounding really good, so hey, what the heck, who knows? This, by the way, was the Abbey Road Studios half-speed mastering of this release. So I get it, it's a premium pressing, and maybe it's not fair to compare it to the compact disc. I don't know. What do you think? In this case, what would you go for, the record or the tape? Let me know in the comments below. All right, let's open the mail. So Jim over at Record Collector News has me on his mailing list, and he sends me all the copies of his magazine out of Southern California here. Record Collector News. This one has a feature on David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, and The Spiders from Mars 50 years later. I read this every month. It's a free magazine, and it's always a good read. I always salivate at all these ads for record stores, Amoeba Music. They're just all sorts of crazy ads. CD Trader, all these places. I'm like, I gotta visit these places someday because it sounds like there's some super cool record stores spread out through California and throughout the U.S. So that's very cool. Jim, thanks for sending me this latest copy of Record Collector News. I also got this from Jace, and I've pre-opened this because he told me this was coming and I wanted to check it out. Jace was the bass player in this band called Emotional Suicide, and I use the past tense, but I'll tell you why. Let me read the letter first. It says, "Hey Frank, I hope you and Sherry are doing well. As promised, here is the Emotional Suicide CD. I hope you enjoy going through the booklet as much as we enjoyed putting it all together. I don't remember looking so young. Sigh. If anyone wants to buy a copy and it's not in their local store, your friends at Amazon have it. Looking forward to continuing to follow your musical journey on YouTube. Keep on spinning, Jace the Bass. So, there's a really cool story behind this. Here, I'll show you the cover. And this is called Emotional Suicide, self-titled. It is a 2022 release, but there's a really cool story behind this. So, and again, Jace told me about all of this before. So in 1993, this was recorded in 1993, and the band recorded it themselves, and then they went to every record company in the UK trying to find a distribution deal. But as Jace explained it to me, this is 1983, grunge was all that mattered, and they got no bites. So the band split up or morphed into different things, and Jace moved to Thailand in 2002. And he says, fast forward 20 years later, and I found myself talking to the drummer from Manila Road. And I thought he might want to listen to the 93 album, so Jay sent him a link to their Bandcamp page. What he didn't realize is that the guy from Manila Road was actually the A&R guy for Golden Core Records, and he asked if they could release this album. So now 29 years later, it's finally been released on compact disc. Apparently there's a vinyl version coming up of it. So, I mean, how cool is that? You record an album with your friends, 30 years later, it's actually released. In terms of music, this is a mix of classic metal with thrash elements. It's melodic, it's got some great riffs. At times, the singer reminds me of a cross kind of between Blackie Lawless and Kevin DuBrow. I don't know, maybe because I've been listening to Wasp and Quiet Riot. It doesn't necessarily sound like Wasp or Quiet Riot. It's more traditional heavy metal, that kind of thing, but that kind of popped into my mind. Amazingly, this album doesn't sound dated at all. In fact, there's a lot of newer bands trying to replicate this sort of sound. So I don't know. I'm super happy to have this in the collection. Jace, I wish you the best of luck selling this. Again, a wild story where 30 years later, this album is actually released and it's getting international distribution. I love it. A success story. This is what they call this, a Cinderella story. I don't know. Anyway, 33ers, I'll leave a link so you too can check out Emotional Suicide. Thank you, Jace, for sending this. Digging it, man. All right, that's my Friday update. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Have a great couple of days. I'll be back again on Sunday. Until then, keep on spinning.